Good morning, church. Let's try that again. Good morning, church. Good morning. How's everyone today? Great. Enjoying the snow, the winter we finally get? Enjoying the sun, yeah. Yes. For some of us, that might be a way of filling our bucket. So today, I'll be talking about how to be a bucket filler. That's our determination that by the end of this talk, we'll know how to do it, and that we have things that we can take action on, that we can be a bucket filler. And so you have a little piece of paper on your chairs. We'll revisit that at the end of the message. So first, let's talk about the bucket. What am I talking about here when we're talking about a bucket? So for all intents and purposes of this message today, the bucket is going to be our capacity to receive love and our potential to give love, okay? So we have a bucket, and that's our own personal bucket. Some people have small buckets, some people have big buckets. It's all fine. It is what it is, wherever we're at. But the goal by the end of our lives is to expand and to make bigger our bucket as much as possible. And so when we transition into the spirit world, that's like developing our lungs, our ability to breathe in the spirit world. So our goal then, until then, is to be bucket fillers. To be people that can fill other people's buckets and make deposits of positivity, of positive words and actions into others, of love in action. And it starts with our own decision to be bucket fillers. And it's a daily decision. It's sometimes a decision on an hour-to-hour or a minute-to-minute basis, depending on the challenges that we face every day or the people that we run into or interact with. So today, I want to talk about how to be a bucket filler. So I was talking a little bit about my sermon topic with Kanan on the way back from hockey practice yesterday, and then when we were talking, he said something that was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, and I don't know if he really understood what he was saying, but we kind of talked about it a little bit. But he said, giving is receiving. He said, giving is receiving. And so then we were talking about it a little bit, and his examples are right, like giving up toys, right? When he gives up a toy that someone else wants, a lot of times it might be one of his siblings. Yuna's pretty good at saying that she really wants something that someone else is playing with. Whenever someone's playing with something, it looks really enticing and exciting. And so he said that when I give up something, then the other person's happy, but then he also gains something from that. So in that way, giving is receiving. As we give from our buckets, as we give from ourselves to other people, then we also receive something. We also receive happiness and love and satisfaction. We also gain spiritual brownie points as well. And as we exercise this, it's like breathing. This kind of exercise should be natural as it is breathing. As we give and our bucket empties, we give from our bucket to give to other people. And in that action of giving, we also can receive, and God can fill in that void, or others fill in that void, and we receive in this exercise back and forth, this give and receive, give and take. Then that activity is growing our bucket. And as we give more, we can receive more. And so if you can imagine trying to fill a 5-gallon bucket, a large bucket, and all you have is a little a little coffee mug. Right? It's going to take a lot of emptying out the coffee mug to fill up that large bucket. But you think about it in the reverse. If you take the 5-gallon bucket and that bucket is full, and you're trying to fill up the coffee mug, it only takes a little bit of that, what's in that 5-gallon bucket to fill up that coffee mug. So as we develop our capacity to give love, we can fill up many, many coffee mugs, many other people's buckets. So the words that we use, the actions that we take, these are ways of filling other people's buckets. Words and actions also are the glue that binds our relationships together. When we think about our closest relationships, a lot of that is built on the words that we say every day. We interact with our spouses or our friends or our family, our siblings every day, and I think sometimes we might not be so conscious about the words that we use. But if we think about the words that we use as ways that we're building someone up, if we're conscious about that, if we're intentional about being builders, about raising other people up, then words are the building blocks, the bricks that we set every single day. And we want to build people up. We want to build up people with our words and not take away bricks and tear people down. So my father-in-law always says to be a plus. Wherever you go, be a plus. And when we were first married, and Shilka and I, he would run these summer camps where kids from different parts of the different states would come and join in. And they're from Canada, the family's from Canada, but we were holding the workshop in Michigan, and we get people from New Jersey and from Michigan and Chicago and Minnesota, from everywhere. But wherever we went, we'd stay in campgrounds, we'd stay at different people's homes. Wherever we went, it was always the message, the thing that we hear right before we leave is leave the plus, and make sure that the way that you leave something is better off, right, than when you came there. So I try to instill that also in my own kids too. And so we're trying something out, something new. It's I guess it's called Gravy Stack. And it's a way to teach financial literacy, but it also has ways that you can teach and educate your kids on what it means to be part of a family. What are the expectations? What are you expected to do as being part of a family? And the guy that founded it, he said that allowance is socialism, and he was against it. That's another topic for another day. But the idea is that being part of the family comes with certain expectations. You make your bed, you take care of your toys that you make a mess with, and you put it away. You come back home, put away your things, your backpacks and coats and stuff. There's certain things that every day that you're expected to do just being part of the family. And then there's things that are gigs or bonus type things. And these gigs, he calls them, are things that you can earn money from. So it might be things like practicing guitar or piano, some musical instrument. Or you're developing yourself to become a better person and giving a plus to yourself. Or it's things that you can do to contribute towards the family. So there's examples like washing the car, or taking out the garbage, or things that will benefit the whole purpose, the whole family, and being a plus to the whole family. And so anyways, we're working on that, seeing how that goes. But the point is being the plus and having that as a conscious effort. And really that as you do that more, it becomes really subconscious. and you don't even have to think about it anymore, but wherever you go, you bring a positive energy, you do positive things for other people, you say positive words, and you're naturally pouring into other people's buckets, and you're filling other people's buckets up. So when we build ourselves and we invest in ourselves, we're practicing music, getting better at music, getting better in our faith, then we can pour out into other people as well. And when we pour out into other people, it's actually principled that there is a return as well. And as we give and give and give, then we will receive in different ways. And I think one of the better examples I can think of, I guess, is a relationship between spouses. And because there's that interaction every single day, and there are challenges that just come up in life that you need to work through and that you need to deal with. This is such a great place to practice and to develop our character and develop our ways of giving. So Shizuka and I and other people that are blessed in marriage at the same time, just celebrated our 15-year anniversary. I know many of you have a lot more years under your belt too. But anyone that's been in a long-term relationship knows that it's really a relationship of give and take. And you can't expect anything in return, though. That's really not how a successful relationship is going to be built long term. It's really about what you're willing to give and giving that every single day. And naturally, by principle, it comes back to you. If I give to my wife in her love language, right? That's key, is giving the way that she can receive love. If I'm able to fill her bucket, I can take the kids for a while and give her some time to re-energize and relax. If I can spend some quality time with her in her love language, that's a good way that I can fill up her bucket, and she can feel loved. Then it's natural that when she feels her bucket filled up to give back. But I think the key is not expecting that, not being anxious, not being worried about what am I going to get, but just focusing on what I am giving, and being confident in that my giving is going to, in me giving, I don't have to worry about what I receive. In Matthew 7:12, we learn about the golden rule in the Bible. It says, "So in everything, do unto others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets." So in doing to others, that's if you want people to respect you or to give you grace or to give you love, then do that first. Reach out first. Be the one to give first and to act first, right? In our faith movement, our founder, Reverend Sun Myung Moon, he has talked a lot about living for the sake of others. And in a speech back in 1975, he said, "Not only God himself, but also true human beings accept the principle that they need to exist for the sake of others. That is why true love stems from living for the sake of others. Why the true ideal stems from living for the sake of others, and why true peace and true happiness can be found only when one lives for the sake of others." So we have great opportunity to practice in our family, within our community, as we give to each other, we create more and more energy, fill up more and more buckets. Our buckets get bigger and we have more capacity to give. And as we fill up everyone's buckets in our congregation, it's only natural that we want to overspill into the community that's surrounding us, to each other's contacts and friends and family that don't attend our church community here. So it's key, and my kids love water parks and splash pads and stuff like that, so this visual is very meaningful to me. But basically this large bucket fills with water, and it's very, very big. But once it's filled up, it tips over, and then all the water rushes down, and the kids stand under, and they have such a great time. So as we fill our buckets to give to others, we have to understand that we need to make more deposits than withdrawals. It's not only our buckets, but other people's buckets that we're making deposits into, not more withdrawals. If you don't make any deposits, then you're just withdrawing from your bucket or from other people's buckets. You go in debt. You go bankrupt, right? It's really hard to work back from a bankruptcy, right? I think it's 7 years on your credit report, and then your credit score is really low, and you have to take many years to build back up. That's our relationships too. You don't want to go bankrupt in a relationship and have to rebuild that. So we start off with making lots of healthy deposits, right? Make lots of deposits in your bucket and other people's buckets. And as we do that, we can build each other up. We can support each other. When someone is in need, other people can fill up your bucket. So I see that in our community, that people that are in need are getting their buckets filled, and then people that can give are giving. My brother-in-law lost his father a couple weeks ago, and family responded. We called them and we flew out. We went out to Florida, so it was a nice excuse to go out there where it was warmer. But we wanted to show our support and wanted to show that we're there, we're here for them, and in that that action is a way that his bucket was able to be filled. And so when there's times of hardship, when there's things that happen, those are opportunities also that we can reach out and to fill other people's buckets. So I want to go to our activity now. So if you look, you should have something on your chair, or maybe it's underneath your chair. If you don't have a sheet, then you might be able to look at an empty chair that has one, or I have some extra pieces of paper as well. But you'll see on your paper you have 2 buckets. And for those that are on Zoom, you can just take out a piece of paper and do this separately as well. So you have 2 buckets. The first bucket is how my bucket gets filled. And the second bucket is how I can fill other buckets. Okay, so we'll take a few minutes first on how my bucket gets filled. And I'll put a couple examples, but I want you to make sure you come up with your own. So you can just put it inside the bucket. How do I feel loved? How do I feel recharged, re-energized? How do I relieve my stress? How do I get rid of my burdens? What makes me feel full? What makes me smile? How does God fill my bucket? How do others fill my bucket? My spouse, my children, my parents, my friends, my community. And how do I fill my own bucket? If you haven't done so already, you can move on to the next bucket. How can I fill other buckets? What are my talents or abilities? What are the words that I can use? How can I use my skills or the time that I have? So think about the things that you can offer to fill other buckets. I'll give you a couple minutes for that side. Thank you for taking the time to participate in the activity. I encourage you to further fill it out if you have anything else to add and think of anything else in the future. But I think it's also a good exercise to take this paper that you just filled out, and maybe you can compare with your spouse or with your kids or with your friends or whomever, and see if your buckets line up. How I get my bucket filled, does it line up with how you fill up other people's buckets, right? And I think it's also a good conversation starter, or a way to, as we go to the social hall, to kind of talk about what our buckets look like and how someone gives to others, and what's the best way that they can get their bucket filled and receive love. So I encourage you to do that. And I think it's so powerful to take some time to write things down. It becomes real that way. And then we can see what we're like and what we can do and take action on that. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.